Welcome to our group's qualitative research presentation. And here today I want to tell you about our proposal. So what is our proposal is about? Our research is about the entire ethnicity in the realm of website management. Our city choices are affected by our ethnic group. So going on to the next part, which is power statement. The reason why we wanted to do our research is because we noticed that the issue of race and ethnicity has not been analyzed much in Malaysian society. So we decided to look on a certain aspect of this problem, which is on how students in a university sit during lunch. So what do we want to achieve with the research? So we want to study and understand the underlying factors that governs our daily lunch seating in terms of ethnicity and race. The next part is research objective. So the first one is to assess the tendency of UF students during lunch. What we mean is what usually UF students do out of normal circumstances. And second one is to outline the factors that influence the people's tendency to sit with their own ethnic groups. So basically we're going to find out why people sit with who they sit with. And third is to describe the division of racial groups among UF students in the cafeteria. Well, after to find out if there is a racial dividing in the first place. Next part is the research question. The first part is, do students of UF have a tendency to have lunch with people of their own ethnic backgrounds? Second, what are the factors that influences people's tendency to only sit with their own ethnic group? And third is, what is the division of racial groups like among UF students in the afternoon?
Hello, my name is Zara and we are going to go through the literature review of our proposal. In this literature review, we looked at several scholarly works relating to our subject, which is ethnicity in the realm of prosaic logic. So first of all, we're looking at this man who conducted the research in 1992 and examined the cross-racial interaction among high school students, and he used the word race in here relating to all subgroups and folds within the school population. So he reaches the conclusion that although large groups of students have the tendency to interact with each other interracially, but when it comes to cliques and smaller groups, students have a tendency to stick to whatever ethnicity they come from. This also applies to other categories such as socioeconomic groups as well. For example, when students come from poorer backgrounds, they tend to stick together, and when they come from the well-off groups, they tend to stick together as well. Wariku in 2010 compared two schools in New York and one in London in terms of their racial blending, and he drew on the argument that a multi-ethnic social group leads to less prejudicial behavior among adolescents. And he talks about the concept of boundary blurring among ethnic groups. Boundary blurring is when groups interact so much that we don't see the boundaries between the groups anymore. This study concludes that the school in New York tends to show more segregation among ethnic groups rather than the school in London, and encourages the idea of schools providing opportunities for ethnic groups to blend together and bridge the supposed boundaries. Thank you.
Okay, so for next one is our research design methodology. We're doing qualitative, obviously. So we have two methods for our study. One is observation. We're going to observe students at education cafeteria, and the other will be at sastra cafeteria. So for our interview, we're going to meet several students from different ethnicities. So what we're actually doing is we're going to divide it into two different categories, locals and also internationals. So the criteria for respondents are as follows: students from University of Malaya, Malaysian, non-Malaysians, and speaks English. The request will be made on WhatsApp messages, and then our target number of respondents will be around 4 to 6 people. So our request for respondents will be stopped when we find recurring themes in the interview response. Our method of data analysis will be thematic analysis. So what we'll do is we'll pinpoint, examine, and also record patterns or themes within the gathered data.
Conceptual framework. Based on what we've read, scholars such as Wariku 2010 and Jusman 1992 found that from their studies that in a large social settings, people have no problem interacting with different races. They basically can interact with each other. However, in a smaller social setting, say around 5 or 6 people, we start to see the trend where people of this birds of the same feather tend to flock together. The conceptual framework that we're going with is that different group sizes makes people have different racial preferences when having lunch.
Consideration is the last part of our research. So any kind of participants will be in our research is strictly participant based. They will be brief about what this research is about and what are their rights as a participant, whether they be in anonymity or their right to withdrawal, etc., etc.